Hey folks, this is Connor and this is going to be my 1 year natural bodybuilding transformation video. So without messing you around too much, I'm just going to get crack into it and show you the first before and after photo. The first photo was taken in February 5th, 2017, and the second photo was taken on February 5th, 2018. So as you can see, quite a bit of size put on from the before to the after photo. Just to give you the numbers here, it was an increase in 3 stone 3 pounds in the 1 year span, which is 45 pounds or 20 kilos for whichever country it is you use as measurement. It's worth noting though that it was not all muscle, so you can see that there's body fat put on as well, but obviously quite a lot of muscle put on, more so in some areas than others. So you'll notice that the chest, for example, is lagging. Arms are looking pretty good. A lot of progress there, particularly in the triceps. And legs are pretty much a night and day difference. It's quite shocking to see how thin my legs were when I started. It didn't really hit me at the time, and until you kind of see it in a photo format like this. But what these photos don't do is give you context, right? It's just, here's a before photo, here's an after photo. It doesn't tell you, how it came about or why, like what kind of advantages or disadvantages I had going into this, to kind of relate that to you and to see, can you do this? Can this be done? And if so, what advantages or disadvantages you're going to have. So it's important now that I kind of break that down and give a bit of context for these images. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is supplementation and growth hormone and steroids. So we're talking about bodybuilding here, so we can't really talk about bodybuilding without talking about steroids. Did I take any kind of steroids, growth hormone, anything that would help my testosterone in any way, shape or form? The answer to that's no. I just used my natural testosterone. Obviously, I would do things like increase my sleep and that sort of thing to increase my testosterone, but no, I wasn't injecting myself with anything or taking any special chemicals. What I was doing was taking a multivitamin and a fish oil supplement, and also supplementing something called creatine monohydrate. So those were the supplements that I used to achieve what I achieved within that window. Okay, so the second thing that we have to talk about is prior knowledge. So it would be very misleading of me to show you the transformation and not say that I didn't know things going into it, okay? So whilst I'm learning things along the way and I'm getting better at this, I had a large amount of knowledge coming into it. So there was a lot of things that I already knew ahead of time. I had a really good understanding of bulking and cutting, which of course evolved over the process. And I had a really good understanding of certain training exercises, although I wasn't very good at training my chest or my back. I was good at training my biceps and I was good at training my triceps because I'd already went through the pain process of those. So I did have a lot of prior knowledge. It had been something that I'd studied for a long time. There was also the factor of muscle memory. So I'd trained and been in good shape before, so I'm going to build muscle a little bit quicker than most people because I've had it before, right? And the fact that I knew so much about it ahead of time meant that I had a leg up when I started, right? It wasn't like I was just going into the gym, didn't have a clue what I was doing, and was having to figure it out from day one. Like, I knew ahead of time what my training split was going to be, and I knew what my diet was going to be. Obviously I learned things along the way, but I had a really solid baseline of which to accomplish what I did. Okay, so the third thing we have to talk about when it comes to before and after photos is, I guess, shenanigans, right? So there's certain things that you can do to quote unquote cheese a transformation photo, right? So you may see things on Instagram like, here's my 1 second transformation, right? Which is where someone in their before photo doesn't tense, and in their after photo they do tense, and it looks like they put on 20 pounds of muscle in half a second. Right, so it was very important to me that in my before photo I tensed. So even though I had very little muscle and I was still lean, it was important that I tensed in that photo, because it would have been really misleading if I wasn't tensing in the first one and I push my gut out, and then in the next one I'm tensing, because that is a night and day difference in and of itself, right? So I didn't do any of that. The next thing, most people cut for a photo shoot, right? If they know they're gonna have a photo thing coming up, they're gonna cut for it. I didn't. Frankly, I didn't think I was ever gonna be doing a video like this. So the photos were just for me. I didn't think I was ever gonna put them online. I didn't put them on social media or anything at the time. So it was just for me. So I didn't actually cut weight for it. That was literally just, this is exactly what I look like a year later. When the photos were taken, the only thing that I did different that day was I gelled my hair, right? Like, the photo was just, I woke up, I gelled my hair, I called my friend Ryan, I was like, yo, can you take these photos for me? He did, and that was it. We didn't use any special lighting tricks, we didn't do anything different than we did in the before photo, we didn't edit it, we didn't filter it, we didn't do anything that was different from taking a photo and going with it like that. It was literally just done like that. So there was no Photoshop, no bullshit. Although you can, I mean, you can tell from the photo, right? Like it's not like, you know, when you compare it to like, you know, the Instagram wonder things, like here's my 2 second transformations. It's like, come on, like I think it's fairly obvious to see in the two photos that I wanted the only variable to be what I actually did. No camera bullshit, no lighting bullshit, no like I'm cutting just exclusively for this to make it look like I walk around like this when I don't. That's literally the weight that I was walking around at with the body fat I was walking around at. I'm going to be cutting now going forward, of course, but that's literally just what I looked like at the time, so it's important we address that. Okay, so the final thing to address context-wise is that I developed an injury during that time. So whilst it's a 1 year transformation, there was 2 months during that window where I actually wasn't training at all. I stayed pretty much the same weight, and I wasn't really tracking my diet or anything during that time. So whilst it's technically, you know, February 5th to February 5th a year later, there was a 2 month window where I wasn't training, wasn't dieting, so I probably lost a lot of muscle during that stage. The reason that I got the injury was completely and utterly my fault. Okay, so there was two things that caused it. One, kyphotic posture, which basically is where your shoulders roll forward, usually as the result of a desk job, which means a lot of the muscles in here, they get really tight, and the muscles in your back get really weak. So with the desk job was making my back weak, and my perform made it worse. So I wasn't accessing my back properly when I did my back workouts, and that's something that I'm still trying to fix now, and my chest workouts as well. So you can see in the photos, as we'll talk about as I'm breaking it down, but essentially I tore a couple tendons in my right side, right? So the left side was weak too, but it never actually tore, whereas the right side did tear, sorry, and I'm getting regular physiotherapy for that to this day. So it's worth noting that there was an injury that took place during that, which will affect the way some of the photos look and the way some of the muscles developed. Alright, so this next photo really illustrates the depths to which the legs have grown. You can see obviously in the photo on the left there's literally nothing there. I mean, they're literally just about enough to walk on and nothing more, whereas in the photo on the right you see a lot of quad development. What you don't see a lot of development of is hamstrings. So hamstrings were a muscle that I neglected up until pretty much around the time of this second photo. I mean, I think I'd maybe just kind of incorporated them in the week before, so not enough to actually have any significant development in the hamstrings, but they've came a long way since then. But they are a very important muscle, not just for the overall aesthetic look of your leg, but for functionality in general. They're part of a chain with your hamstrings, your bum, your lower back, and your upper back that all contribute towards good posture. And if you've got lagging hamstrings, you'd be surprised at the knock-on effect that can have in causing lower back pain as a result. So those are something that I've caught up with recently, but in this photo you see a lot of quad dominance. There's a lot of quad progress there, which is good. I've managed to keep that and grow on it a little bit, but really been focusing more on hamstring development recently. Now for the last comparison photos. So this photo really highlights the back, right? So you can see obviously as well there's a lot of development in the triceps. So in the photo of the right you can see a nice kind of U shape to the triceps on both sides, which is good. A lot of good tricep development there. Managed to hit all three heads, grow them quite well, so the arms are considerably larger and still relatively toned. You can be quite high body fat percentage and still have quite toned arms. I store most of my fat in my chest and my lower abs, so my arms can still be quite lean even at a higher body fat percentage. Onto the back now, you can see there's a little bit of progress in the lower back, though I've made a lot more recently since I've made changes to the back workout. Really good development in the upper traps. However, where it's lacking is the mid and lower traps, and in particular the lat muscles. So if you look to this kind of side of the back, you're not really seeing any lap development at all there, and that's simply because I wasn't hitting them properly. My back workouts were really poor, to be honest, and weren't getting really good activation in the back. So there's only certain muscles that look a little bit developed there, and certain ones that don't. But obviously, bear in mind that there was a torn tendon in the back there, so my mobility in that area and my ability to do scapular retraction. Scapular retraction is basically your scapula is your shoulder blade, so your ability to pull that shoulder blade back and down and access that part of your back was very limited as a result of the injury. So that's something that I'm getting caught up with now. That's the last of the photos, so let's wrap up the video. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. Just to wrap up, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a weekly vlog where you can literally see what it takes on a weekly basis to get to the physique that you want, and you can follow as I do the same. So what you're going to be seeing is weigh-ins, breakdowns of weigh-ins, strategies about diets, strategies about workouts, as well as the workout routine, seeing what I do right, seeing what I do wrong. And of course I'm going to be learning along the way, right? It's important that I say I'm not the finished product. I'm not a master at this. I'm a student, right? I'm here to learn. But I dare say that I'm going to put in a lot more effort and time into the learning, and let's be honest, there's a lot of bad information out there, right? And I'm prepared to sift through 100 hours of good information so that I can learn 100 hours of bad information so that I can learn 10 minutes of good information. And then hopefully I can condense that and give that to you so that you don't have to go through the same lengthy process. So hopefully the vlog will be a lot of help to you in terms of getting the results that you want personally. I've been Connor. Take care and have an awesome day.